Yeah. So what are we discussing today?
Today we are discussing immigration.
Canada immigration. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Canada hashtag immigration.
Yes, you put the hashtag on.
Who's your guest?
So today I'm going to be interviewing Stephen. He is an immigration consultant. He's going to tell us a little bit more about his job and the process of immigrating to Canada.
Cool, because a lot of people, I mean, I guess the information that he will be sharing will be valuable information for folks because
Absolutely.
People would pay. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
his advice isn't free.
I ensure you get all the questions in.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. There's so much to
extract as much answers from him as you can.
No pressure. Who are you interviewing today, Pastor D?
I'm interviewing Chiefy. He's a member here at Meadowvale. He's from the Philippines.
Okay.
I think he got baptized a few months ago, but he has an interesting story because Chiefy was, well, he still is like a celebrity in the Philippines.
Wow.
He actually scored the first international goal. He's a soccer player. He used to play for his country. He scored the first international goal in the Philippines.
Wow.
In 2004.
Okay.
Right. So he's going to share his story. You know, moving away from that kind of life. It's going to be interesting. Moving from all of that, coming here to Canada. He told me that he did all of that because of family.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be an interesting show. I'm looking forward to hearing what, and I'm not sure the viewers are looking forward to hearing what Stephen has to share with us this evening.
Absolutely.
And of course, Chiefy. So, without any further ado, I turn it over to you. This is Upsurge. Real people, real discussion, real questions, real answers. Upsurge, where the surge is always up.
And we are back on Upsurge, where the surge is always up. Joining me, I have Stephen. He is an immigration consultant, been in immigration for 4 years. You immigrated yourself from Jamaica, right?
Yes.
When you were 19. That's
Yes.
That's what we shared. Okay. So you said that you immigrated as a type 1 dependent child. Can you just explain that title for me? Type 1 dependent child.
Okay, so thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
A type 1 dependent child is when you are dependent, first of all, and you're below the age of 21 or 22. Sometimes the government, they go back and forth and change the age, so you have to look at that. And I had my Canadian parent who was sponsoring me.
Okay.
So my biological father is Canadian citizen, so he sponsored me as a dependent child.
Oh, okay.
And I immigrated to Canada as a landed immigrant.
Okay. That's interesting story. I'm sure we'll get into that a bit more, right?
Yes.
So what are the first steps for somebody who is looking to immigrate to Canada?
Well, in my opinion, as a legal professional, I do believe that you need to get the right information from the right person. So I always tell clients and people who are interested, I said, listen, get an initial consultation done first, where the legal professional, whether it be an immigration lawyer or an immigration consultant, they will now sit with you, explain the process to you, and explain your situation, because everyone's situation is different and it's unique to their own situation.
Yeah.
So it's always important to get an initial consultation. Some people, they do free consultations. Some of us, we do a paid consultation.
Yeah.
So always try to get that initial consultation done first. Then you are informed. Then you get into what it is that it's your situation.
Yeah.
So that's your first step. Get an initial consultation. Once you're settled, you have the right information, then you know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Then there's a pathway that's created for you. Then you're just going to go through that process with your legal professional.
Okay.
Whether it be to fill out the documents, get the supporting documents, get signatures, get your biometrics done,
Okay.
get your police clearance. There's a long list of things that you have to do. Get your initial consultation done. And then you start the process to make sure that you're doing the right thing for your unique situation.
Absolutely. Every situation is unique. So
Yes.
that's definitely an important thing. So let's just talk a little bit about your job. So the description of your job. So you told me your job title is a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. Mouthful.
Yes.
So regulated Canadian immigration consultant. What is it that you do? So we talked a little bit just now about creating a pathway for your individual clients.
Right.
So what do you do in your day-to-day operations?
So typically how it works, so as a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, for short you can say a licensed immigration consultant.
Okay.
You also have immigration lawyers. For a consultant, first of all, we have a license. So
Yeah.
it's not anyone that can provide legal advice to
Yeah.
you. You have to get yourself trained, and also you have to pass a full skills exam
Okay.
to have the license
Okay.
to practice. So for me, on a day-to-day basis, I have people, they're calling, they're asking for information, they want to know if this works for them. A lot of people, they are in Canada and they have some status issue, because once you're in Canada, it's all about your status.
Yeah.
It is where you're a Canadian citizen, you're a Canadian permanent resident, or you're a temporary resident. And that
Okay.
could be you're either a visitor or a worker, or you're doing some course of studies as international students.
Okay.
So we have a lot of people, they have their status that they need to rectify. They need to make sure that they are following Canadian laws. That's one thing. Then you have those set of people who they are trying to come to Canada,
Yeah.
and they want to get the right information, and they want to know how can they get here.
Okay.
And so there's that spectrum. So, and then of course, when you have your clients now, we're constantly in contact with them, getting their paperwork completed. And it's not just the paperwork, it's a lot goes behind an application. Because then you have people from different culture, different countries, and they do things differently.
Yeah.
And so you have to like kind of work with those personalities. And so there's the people aspect of it, and
Of
then there's
course.
the application aspect of it, and then also you have the submissions, and then you have the big thing, the results.
Yeah.
Because once it leaves our office, goes to the government, it's in the government's hands.
It's out of your control.
So it's out of our control. But everybody's like, what's my guarantee? There's no guarantees in immigration.
Yeah.
It's sad to say, but you know, as a professional, we know exactly what the officers on the other end, they're expecting.
Yeah.
So you really want to, someone who is experienced, someone who is licensed to actually help you out with your application and your process.
Okay, that's so important.
Yes, it is.
So important. So you mentioned that you did mention immigration lawyers. So what is the difference between an immigration lawyer and a consultant? You told us what you do. So what would an immigration lawyer do that you would be better suited for?
So immigration lawyers and immigration consultants, we do the same job.
Okay.
So the difference with us is immigration lawyers, they go to law school and they study all aspects of the law. And then they specialize in immigration.
Okay.
Just like ourselves, we go and we specialize in Canadian immigration law.
Okay.
So we are the specialized professional for immigration.
Okay.
So we do the same job, pardon me, we do the same job. The only difference now, when it comes down to what we do, there's different areas of practice. So people, they want to do they just want to do like family class sponsorship. They want to do economical class.
Okay.
Some people, they want to go to the Immigration Refugee Board.
Okay.
So it's different areas of practice. With a lawyer, they can do everything. We also can do everything
Okay.
except when it needs to go to the Supreme Court for judicial review.
Okay. So
And that's where a lawyer, you would have had additional training because they were trained in law.
okay.
So there is the Immigration Refugee Board that advises all immigration situation, and we, like I do go to like court myself for short so everyone can understand.
Yeah.
And if there's an appeal process, we do the same. But if we're not successful at that stage, then it needs to go to judicial review where it's going to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Then you get a lawyer involved.
Okay, I was going to ask, what are the circumstances surrounding getting a lawyer involved? Okay, and so with that being said, what are the reasons that people should hire a consultant as opposed to a lawyer? Because I know a lot of people come here and their first instinct is to go to a lawyer.
Right.
Right, so.
Look, like I said, we both do the same job.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that we specialized in immigration.
Okay.
And we are taught like all the processes. I didn't go to law school, so I can't really say.
Yeah.
But I know that lawyers, they would have done like all areas of law. So when we're only specializing in immigration, so we coming out of school, we already know we're taught all the aspects of Canadian immigration law. It's just now a matter of practice. And I don't want to sound biased, but I'm an immigration consultant, so why should someone hire me over a lawyer?
Yeah.
Well, I have the specialized knowledge, so I'm saying that, with my experience too, you should go with me because I know what it is.
Yeah.
I have the experience. I have the trained knowledge, and
You
yeah.
can help people
I can
navigate
help
that
you.
pathway.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And last question I have for you in this segment is the types of applications. So you did talk about you coming as a type 1 dependent child. So what are the other types of applications that people can go under for coming to Canada?
Well, in short, there's like three main categories of Canadian immigration. You have economic class,
Okay.
where these are it's mostly based on your skills, your experience, whether it's your language assessment,
Yeah.
your work experience, your
Okay.
education, and so that's with economic immigration. So it's more about what you have as an individual,
Okay.
your experience throughout life.
Okay.
Then you have family class. Family class, that's how I immigrated to Canada. My
Okay.
dad's Canadian, so he sponsored me to reunite with the family to be in
Got
Canada.
it. Okay.
So then you have different aspects of family class. You have like dependent children, you have your spouse or common law partner.
Okay.
Or you have like you want to sponsor your parents and grandparents. There's situations where you can sponsor your additional family members like your aunt
Or cousin.
or cousin.
Oh, yeah.
It's different circumstances. It's not just straightforward like that, like the dependent children and spouse or common law partner.
Okay.
And then you have the third broad situation is like refugees or refugees-like situation.
Okay.
And that's self-explanatory. People are
Absolutely.
in different situations around the world, and Canada is a place of refuge where Canada looks at the situation and then we welcome them here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for answering those questions.
Yes.
So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have a lot more questions and questions specific to COVID-19 and immigration. So this is Upsurge, where the surge is always up. And we are back on Upsurge, where the surge is always up. We're back with Stephen, licensed immigration consultant. So we're going to dive right into the questions. So I know a lot of people are asking, when you come to Canada, you're immigrating, how do you get a job?
So if you've already been in Canada, everyone that's in Canada needs to be qualified to do the job.
Yeah.
So we're talking about qualifications based on your credentials. If you're going to do an accounting job, you need to be an accountant, and you need to go through that process of getting licensed or trained or experienced to do that job.
Yeah.
Then you're talking about the status. This is where I come in as an immigration expert. So people coming into Canada, if you're a landed immigrant, you have permanent residency, so you're free to work in any job. If you are from outside, you want to get into Canada working, you need to first get a job offer that is valid. And what makes a job offer valid is an employer in Canada needs to be approved to hire a foreign worker. So the employers have to go through a process that's called the Labor Market Impact Assessment, which is more commonly known as the LMIA. So the employer has to, more often than not, get approved first by Service Canada, because that's the labor laws. Canada doesn't want employers to be giving away the jobs to foreigners, while you have Canadians and permanent residents here that could do the job.
Absolutely.
So you have to go through a recruitment process, get approved. Once you're approved, then you give that valid job offer to the foreign national. Then they take that and then they apply for what is a work permit or a work visa. Once they get approved, then they come to Canada and then they can work. One more thing, they can only work for that employer. Because there are stipulations on the work permit that you can work for this employer at this location, or it may be between different locations. There's specifications on the permit and you must adhere to that. So anyone that wants to work in Canada, you need to first get a work permit before you can come to Canada to work, and you have to get that job offer from an employer who is approved to hire a foreign worker.
Absolutely. All right. So I know another big question is you're living here and you want to have family members come over. So how does that work?
So just like how I came, my dad was here. He immigrated a long time ago. He's a Canadian citizen. Then he wanted to have his son here. So you can sponsor your dependent children who are under the age of 21. And you can sponsor your spouse or your common law partner through family. It's family immigration. So you go through the process of you are bringing them to Canada as a landed immigrant, and it's through the family class immigration. And then you have situations like you have orphan situation. You have like if you want to adopt you adopt someone outside, then you can bring them in. I think. Could you ask what was the question again?
I was just asking, how do you get family members here? I was going to ask just on, to stem off of what you were saying, what does sponsorship look like? Because I always hear people sponsoring. What does that look like?
So sponsorship is two things that you have to take in consideration. The sponsor and the person being sponsored. So the sponsor is the Canadian or the permanent resident. So once you're a permanent resident or you're a Canadian citizen, you can sponsor your family member who is eligible. So it's not like the US where if you're a US citizen, then you can only sponsor as opposed if you're a permanent resident. No. Canada, it's once you're a permanent resident or Canadian citizen, you can sponsor. Now the sponsor has to meet certain requirements. So if you're sponsoring your dependent child or your spouse or common law partner, you do what is called an undertaking, where you're responsible for them for different years. So like say for example, if it's your spouse or your common law partner, you're responsible for that person for 3 years. So anything that they do, the government is going to hold you responsible for that. So it's a big deal. And a lot of people think that you have to be working to be able to sponsor your common law partner or your spouse or your dependent child. Not necessarily, but the government doesn't want you to rely on social assistance to take care of that person. So there must be some sort of income coming in, or you can cater for the family. So that's what the sponsor would do. They need to be eligible, and if you're talking about family sponsorship, so there can't be any criminality.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there was any domestic abuse.
Yeah.
And you have any record of that, then that can bar you from becoming a sponsor.
Wow. Okay.
Then you're talking about a person being sponsored now. They also too have to be admissible to Canada and have to be eligible.
Okay.
So when we're talking about for a spouse, for example, a spouse, it's a husband and wife situation. So you have to be married, and that marriage has to be legal in Canada. Canada has to recognize that marriage. It's not every country. Canada recognizes the marriages as a legal marriage.
Okay.
So you have to make sure that wherever you're getting married, it's legal.
Okay.
Common law partner, for example, you need to be living together for 12 consecutive months.
Okay.
And you're sharing your affairs just the same as if you were a married couple.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be living together for 12
So that would have been in the country that they're immigrating from?
So it could be like that. So the Canadian, for example, if my wife or if my girlfriend is in Jamaica, we'd have to be living together for 12 consecutive months. So we were going to be like, how is that possible? So maybe my job is flexible. I can live there for 6 months. She could live here for 6 months.
Okay.
Or I could live there for the entire 12 months, and then you could do that sponsorship.
Okay.
And there's a lot more that goes into it if you want to do an inland sponsorship versus an outside Canada sponsorship.
Okay.
But there's always admissibility and eligibility.
Okay.
And everyone has to go through this where you have to be, you have no criminality. So Canada doesn't want anyone that has any criminal issues.
Yeah, record.
But if you had a record, that does not mean that you can't come to Canada forever.
Okay.
You can get a pardon. You can go through that process of getting rehabilitated if that's the case for you. So there's a lot that goes behind that.
Yeah. And as you were saying, individual pathways, right?
Yes. So admissibility. So there's a common situation where people get a visa and they're coming to Canada to visit, and they think, I'm going to be in Canada. So the visa is just a travel document. When you get on Canadian soil, you have to go through an interview with that officer, and it's at that point where the officer would admit you to Canada.
Okay.
So a lot of people, this is always a funny story at the office. A guy is coming in on a visitor visa, and he has a steel toe boot in his bag.
Yeah.
So the officer says, so what are you doing with a steel toe? He's like, I'm just coming, I'm visiting. So who wears a steel toe? You're coming to work. It's obvious. So then that guy would have not been admitted to Canada because he would be violating his visa because he's just as a visitor.
Yeah.
He's not a worker. He's not coming on a work visa or a work permit.
Got it.
So
okay.
You have to be careful what you're doing, and you have to understand your visa or your permit.
Absolutely. Okay.
I hope I answered that question.
You did.
Okay.
You definitely did, because I've always heard of sponsorship, but I never really understood the stipulations behind
it. So
it.
it's always important to speak to a professional just to get some information. Sometimes people say, I don't want to pay a consultation fee. Come on. Like if you're paying $200, that's nothing compared to the entire package that you have to pay for to hire a professional, plus pay the government fees, plus all the other additional fees that you'd be paying.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to start on a pathway that is not going to work for you. So you're spending the consultation fee to get the right information to save you in the end.
Absolutely. It definitely would. So we were talking different pathways. So different pathways to immigrate.
Right.
So I think you mentioned that there was the different sponsorships. Are there any other different pathways to immigrate into the country?
So you have family class.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about that earlier.
Yeah.
With the economic class, you're talking about people who went to university.
Okay.
They've worked for some time. You have even business immigrants. People want to invest in Canada. They have their business. They have their business ideas. They have money that they want to invest in the economy here.
Yeah.
So there's a pathway for that.
Okay.
And you have two major decision entities. You have the federal government. You have the provincial government. So the federal government is the one that issues all permits, everything on immigration.
Okay.
However, the federal government allows the provinces to have some immigration pathway to their own province.
Okay.
Because the provinces, they're all competing against each other to bring people to their province.
Okay.
For example, Ontario, you know, everybody wants to be in Ontario.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, for example, they have 1.5 million people living in the entire province. That's just like the city of Toronto or
Yeah.
parts of, like, just, that's Mississauga.
Yeah.
So obviously they have to have something to attract people there.
Yeah.
So each province have their own little pathway
Yeah.
that they can attract individuals.
Okay. Could you tell me one of the pathways to get into Ontario, for instance?
For example, an international student came and him or her, they went to Humber College. They did a course of studies, and then they decide that, hey, you know, I like Canada. I want to spend some more time here, and I want to get my permanent residency. But before you do that, there's a pathway that they can get their a work permit, a postgrad work permit.
Yes.
Because that's after they've completed a certain course of studies.
Okay.
And it has to be at a designated learning institution in order for you to get that work permit.
Okay.
Then after you work for some time, then you have some Canadian experience. You can come under what is called the Canadian Experience class.
Okay.
And that's under how to say this easy. So there's a system that's called the Express Entry system.
Okay.
Where when it says Express Entry, people are getting permanent residency within 6 months
Okay.
of
Wow.
applying. Like family class processing time is like 12 months.
Okay.
And then when you're talking about provincial nomination, so to build on that, so the international student, him or her came, they finished their studies, then they worked for some time, and then now they're trying to find a pathway to stay in Ontario, to stay in Canada, and then now they're in Ontario.
Yeah.
They did not, let's say they didn't have enough points, because it's a points-based system too.
Yes,
You're
yes.
competing against everybody in this pool. Some people have a master's degree versus you have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
And it goes, you have 5 years experience, I have like 10.
Yeah.
So it's a process. And then you
Okay.
do your language test.
Wow.
If you score 70 and I score 85, obviously I'm going to get more points.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It's a points-based system.
Got it.
If you did not meet that, then the provinces now can supplement your application.
Okay.
So the international student studied, work, then there's like a pathway. International student with job offer.
Okay.
So this individual would have worked, so let's say the person studied accounting, and their company likes them and they really want them to stay with them. That company now can make them a job offer, give them a full-time permanent position.
Okay.
And then now they can take that and apply to the province of Ontario to give them a nomination
Okay.
for permanent residency.
Okay.
And then the province is saying, hey, we want you to stay here. We want you to invest your resources in Ontario
Okay.
and stay in Ontario. So because of that, we're going to help you to become a permanent resident.
Got it.
And then they would go through that process of that category, international student with job offer.
Got it.
You have another one, just an easy one too. Truck drivers. So across Ontario, even across Canada, there's a need for truck drivers.
Yeah.
So the province of Ontario has a specific immigration program for truck drivers. So
Wow.
there's different programs out there.
Yeah,
So like your situation is only unique to your situation, and you just need to definitely get the right information. There's over 60 different pathways.
Wow.
So somebody can't just say, oh yeah, I just want to come. Well, we have to do the assessment. We have to do that. That's why I say always, whoever you're talking to, they should always get you to do an initial consultation.
Yeah.
Some people do free. I do free assessments. Like spend 10-15 minutes talking to you, get to understand
Your situation. Yeah.
Then I say, okay, you know what? There's something that can work for you. Let's do a consultation where now I'm going to explain all of it from 1 to 100.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
And then so whatever it is that you need to do.
You know all your options.
And then once you decide that you're going to move forward, then we get into a retainer where you're hiring me now to be your legal representative.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. That's a mouthful.
Yeah, no, but it's so important because I've been living here all my life and I never knew anything about that. I've heard people talk about immigration. I've heard people that have lived here for 20 years talk about immigration, and they're just like, oh, I just got, my permanent residence, or, you know what I mean? It's definitely one of those things that we don't talk about enough.
Right.
So now we're going to go into the daunting COVID-19 conversation. So how has COVID-19 impacted your job, and not just that, but immigration on a whole?
Well, it definitely slowed down.
Yeah.
Because then, the government shut down, so they're working remotely, so that affect the processing time.
Yeah.
And then the hands on deck. We don't know if people still have their jobs, stuff like that, like what's happening in immigration. But we listen to the news that they're giving, the information that they're giving out. So processing times have been affected.
Okay.
And certain programs have closed. Like, for example, you have a visitor. People want to come to Canada and visit. So coming as a visitor is not like, borders are closed. So that's not a priority right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So situations like that as like
Have been
put on
stopped.
hold. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have another case where there's people already here, their permits are running out, their status is running out, and they need to now extend that.
Yeah.
So there's that situation too. So things have slowed down, but the government is still open.
Okay.
But there's priority on different types of cases.
Of course.
From my job, things slow down, yes, but people are still calling. People still want to come. People still have different immigration situation.
Absolutely.
And I find that COVID-19 is a blessing in disguise in immigration. People would say, "What am I talking about?" But I've seen cases that did not usually get processed or get accepted. They're getting accepted.
Wow.
Because of, things have changed.
Yeah.
And I say, that's why you need to get the right information from the get-go so you know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. I know that COVID-19 has definitely changed a lot. So it's good to know that while the long wait may be there, maybe now circumstances won't be as stringent. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So I guess I would say we did talk a little bit about credentials. And I know one of the most frustrating experiences for people immigrating to Canada is getting their credentials recognized. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So when you're coming in, if you've already received your permanent residency, because that's the biggest thing,
Yeah.
because then you're more free to live. You're free to live, work, and study anywhere.
Yeah.
So once you've crossed that hurdle, then it's just a matter of you getting recognized in your industry,
Yeah.
in your own profession. And you have to now go to those industry leaders and say, okay, this is what I have, these are my experiences, this is my qualification. And then sometimes you have to challenge the licensing process here.
Okay.
It's not that you cannot do the same job, but there's a process, and especially if it's a process, if it's an industry where you need a license, you have to literally go through the same processing as if you studied or got your credentials in Canada.
Okay.
Because you still have to go through a licensing process.
Uh-huh.
So you always go to the licensing body to find out, okay, as a nurse, I'm a registered nurse from the Caribbean, and I'm coming to Canada. How can I be a registered nurse here? So you have to go to the province head and say, okay, this is what I have. How can I get myself registered as a nurse? And then they'll tell you that. Now, for individuals who are coming in, before they get their permanent residency, you need to get your credentials evaluated.
Okay.
For example, because you're going to go through that economic class, that skilled work situation, express entry, whether it be federal skilled worker,
Okay.
Canadian experience class, federal skilled trades,
Wow.
or you're coming through a provincial nomination.
Okay.
So you have to get your credentials evaluated to say it's on par with a Canadian. Because I have a lot of clients where they had a master's degree from their country, but then when it got evaluated, it's equivalent to a bachelor's degree in Canada.
Okay.
So you definitely need to get that done, and then that's where the points are awarded
Got
in
it.
your immigration process pathway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for answering all those questions. Last thing is any words of advice you would have for those who've recently immigrated or who are looking to immigrate to Canada?
The government website provides a lot of information, and you can get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And people want to make sure that they are getting the right information, they know exactly what it is, that's fine. I would do the same.
Yeah.
So do some research, yes. Also with your research, speak to an expert. Speak to an expert because they know exactly what needs to be done. And sometimes not all experts or not all immigration lawyers or immigration consultants specialize in this area. So you have to, like, once you're talking to them, then you get an understanding of what they know or if this is their specialty, and then you find somebody who knows exactly. So always get the expert.
Yeah.
Next thing now I want to talk about, we're here in the church. I'm a part of the church. I'm a member of the church.
Yeah.
You have individuals like myself here. We can collaborate. We need to have more of these programs. This is awesome. I'm happy that we're having this, and I can share so people can come. Hey, Stephen, I have this situation. If you see me anywhere on the street, in church, wherever, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm open. You can talk to me. I'm flexible because you want to get the right information.
Absolutely.
Even if I'm not being paid upfront at that moment, but it's okay. I provide advice. But when it comes to a process now, then the fees are there.
Yeah.
So the church is here as a tool. We need to utilize this.
Absolutely.
And especially if we're saying that we're in the community building, we're building communities. People are affected in different ways, and immigration is one of those things that we all went through. Even though you were born in Canada, you still had an immigration situation because you were born here. You're a Canadian citizen.
Yeah.
And whenever you travel outside of Canada, that's when your immigration situation is right in front of you because you're a Canadian. You have a Canadian passport, and you're allowed or not allowed to enter that country.
Yeah.
So we all have an immigration situation.
Absolutely.
So church is a good tool. It's a good instrument. We can utilize that. I can leave my information. Anyone wants to get in touch.
Yeah.
I'm here to help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're so grateful. And thank you so much for joining us. After this break, we will be having Pastor D interview our second guest. So thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is Upsurge, where the surge is always up.
Good evening, Chiefy.
Good evening, Pastor.
Chiefy Cadalong, that's the name, I got it right? Caligdon. Yeah. So, let me see, I know you're a family man for sure. The first time I saw you coming to church here, you came because of your family. So I know that you're a family man. I know that you love the Lord because your sons got baptized, and then you decided to give your life to the Lord also in baptism. Yeah, but tell me some more about Chiefy.
Yeah, so we came from in Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
you're from the Philippines?
Yeah, we're from Philippines, and we all are born in Philippines.
Okay.
So yeah, back home, I was playing. Football.
So you're a football player.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but before that, I served in military service for 10 years and 2 months, and while I'm in the Air Force, I was in the service. I'm also playing in the national team.
Okay, so you were in the Air Force, and you were a football player.
Yes.
At the same time?
Yeah.
How was that? How did you balance both?
So, because of the Armed Forces of the Philippines has their own tournaments, like every year we celebrate the AFP PNP Olympics.
Okay.
So, when I was 17, because back home, also in my hometown, we celebrate our patron also, like a fiesta.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they came to me and they offered me if I want to play in the Air Force, but because I'm underage, so I told them like.
So you were always a good football player then?
Yeah.
So the first play, they wanted to play for the Air Force at 17.
Yes.
Okay. But you were too young for that?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And after 2 years, they came back, and I grabbed it, and I moved to the capital in Manila.
Okay.
So to join the team, but of course, I didn't know that
So we can say that most of your life is like you enjoyed football?
Yes.
Which team did you play for in the Philippines?
I play because Air Force is joining also in the National League.
Okay.
So, but after 10 years, I exited from the service and I played for another club for Green Archers United.
Okay.
But in my the 10 years that I served, I played in the Air Force, but at the same time I played for the national team.
So you were a national
player.
You were a national player.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Left wing.
Left wing?
I'm left-footed.
Okay. So you were a national player in the Philippines.
Yes.
What would you say was your most memorable achievement playing for the national team back home?
I think that we won against Timor-Leste. That was back 2004.
Okay.
That's my first year to play in the senior team.
Because I was watching a YouTube clip with you a few weeks ago, and I saw where you scored a goal. I think the person who was interviewing you actually said that you scored the first. Was it the first international goal?
Yes.
So you scored the first international goal for the Philippines.
Yes.
The first time an international goal was scored for the Philippines.
Yeah.
You were the man who put the ball in the net.
Yes.
So you must be a celebrity in the Philippines then. Yeah, you must be a superstar scoring the first. Which year was this?
It's 2004.
2004. You scored the first international goal.
Yes.
I could imagine that the next day you were on the headlines, of course. All the sport newscasts would want to have a chat with you. How did things change for you? Like the whole celebrity life now. You go to the mall, people want to take pictures. Tell me about that. How did this transform for you?
I'm after that celebration, back and after the goal, after the team celebration, when we come back to in Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so people are also recognizing the goal, especially me.
Your goal.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like it's,
I wonder if our
sometimes you
studio
cannot-
crew, I know we have a good studio crew here, wonder if they could pull up one or two of those goals for us so our viewers could see Chiefy at putting the ball in the back of the net. Tell me something, Chiefy. So that was 2004. You came to Canada. When you go to the Philippines, do folks they remember you
Yes.
to this
Yeah.
day?
They
Yeah.
always remember, like I said, like if you're a good person, like if you're good to people, they always remember you.
Yeah.
Because I always stay humble. I always under God's name. I always put God first before everything else. So I always praise God. I always praise Jesus. That's why
Yeah.
I always the God bless me.
Yeah.
It's always without God you're nothing.
Praise God.
you know.
So they still call you in for interviews
Yeah.
every now and
Yeah,
again?
so like since I arrived here in Canada, they always like 2 weeks. I have virtual interviews. Like the anniversary of the history that we beat Vietnam 2010. So like it's 10 years already. It happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So they called me a Zoom call, and they always remember me. So I'm so happy that people didn't forget me. What I've done in the country,
Yeah.
Not I'm saying that I'm the only man who can play on that level, but there's lots of talents back home. So I'm happy that someday they can find one of the best player in the country, and following my footsteps, So yeah.
Yeah. So when you go to the airport in the Philippines now, they say that's Chiefy, the man who scored the goal in 2004. You're always someone like a
Yeah.
legend.
Some
in your
of the people
Yeah.
know me. Some of the people recognize me. But I'm kind of person that if someone recognize me, then I respond. I'm kind of person that ignoring people. I'm always happy that someone remember me.
Yeah.
So
tell me, Chiefy, with all of that and you were being a soccer star in the Philippines and pretty much, you must have been enjoying, the celebrity life there. Why did you decide to immigrate to Canada? And tell us some of the challenges well, first tell me why you decided to come here.
it's a very good question, Pastor. And we decided to came in Canada, come over in Canada, because when I was in the in that celebrity days, so all my family, my wife, my kids are always there to support me.
Okay.
They're always there to watch the game. Even we play in different other countries. They always watch lives. Even we play in Philippines. So they're always there to support me. So, like I said, uh, the year passed, the days is, every day is different days. So we're getting old. So I just, that's why I decided, and I told my wife, why not? My career is done. I'm a coach now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reason why we came over here. That's
Family.
time.
Family. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
family time.
you're always busy.
Yeah.
I could imagine like matches, soccer matches all over the
Exactly.
world.
I always
The kids
go home,
hardly
I
seeing
stay
you.
3 days back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our home. Then after 3 days, I travel again. Then after a month, we like every 2 months. That's after 2 months I can meet them.
Okay.
So after 2 months, I will stay 2 days. Then I'll go again.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. So when I finish my
Your career and then you.
then I-
So how they tell us about some of this whole transition and some of the challenges that you faced coming into Canada.
Wow. Yeah. The challenges is really really tough. Like because back home is like you can talk to anyone else, like your neighbor. When you go outside, it's lots of people around you.
Yeah.
And we're close to we live close by my family. So yeah, so that's when we came here, we cannot do that. Right? We can't do that here. Like, so that's the first challenge. When you're sick, when you're like you're homesick also, like nobody can call your family and they will come over
for you. Yeah. So yeah, because you moved, you came here, different various cultures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the first challenges, and second one is you will encounter different people here.
Yeah.
Like back home, you can talk like our national
Your language, yeah.
Right here is
You'd have to
you
speak
have to
English.
have
Yeah.
English,
Yeah.
So yeah, but things are slowly changed.
Yeah. And you're adjusting
Adjusting, exactly.
But when you just came, it was like
Yeah,
a
exactly.
kind of culture
The first 3
culture
months,
shock
the
first 3 months,
Culture shock, exactly.
and then but gradually you worked into.
Exactly, yes, Pastor.
What's the weather like in Philippines?
We're tropical.
It's a tropical country,
countries,
yeah.
So always hot.
So the weather,
Only rainy and
hot.
hot.
So I assume the weather would be a challenge for you
Exactly,
your first winter.
When I arrive here, it's autumn. Then after a month, it's winter already. It's really hard to adjust. So yeah, so things change also, and you have to overcome and you have to accept the reality.
Of what is going on. Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a quick break now. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll hear again from Chiefy, the soccer star from the Philippines, now in Canada, a member here at the Meadowvale Seventh-day Adventist Church. He's here sharing his story, sharing his experience coming to Canada. This is Upsurge, where the surge is always up. Welcome back to Upsurge, where the surge is always up. Real people, real discussions, real questions, real answers, real issues. This is Upsurge, where the surge is always up. We're here with Chiefy Kadalong Kalekdon, and he has been sharing his experience. He's from the Philippines. He has been sharing his experience coming to Canada. He was a soccer star. He scored the first international goal for the Philippines. The first international soccer goal for the Philippines. I'm hoping that we could play at least one or two of those goals. I know there is a top 10 goals from Chiefy. If you could pull that up so the viewers could see the top 10. Play the number one goal. Go right down to three. The first, second, and third top goals. All right. Okay. So you came here, Chiefy, and as you said, you shared with us your experience transitioning to Canada, some of the challenges you faced, culture shock, the family camaraderie that you were exposed to in Canada, in Philippines rather. You didn't see that here. It's more fast-paced. People just going about their business, right?
Exactly. People are every day is busy, you know.
Just busy.
Busy. Work, home, work, home.
And the weather, of course.
Exactly.
Philippines being a tropical country, you're coming here the different seasons.
And
the
first season.
And the winter could be so brutal.
Exactly.
It's
really hard.
It shocked me when I just came myself, and it was a culture shock with the weather. I mean, so tell me, Chiefy. So you played soccer there. What have you been doing since you come to Canada?
Oh yeah, when we arrived here 2 years ago, and because I studied in Germany for my coaching career, after my...
You studied football?
I studied in Germany. After my playing career, they sent me in Germany to study coaching.
Wow.
So, then I served 3 years, 2015, 2018. I served in Philippines as a head coach of the under 15 national team before I go here.
So you coached under 15 national team.
You
went to Germany.
I studied in Germany to be a coach.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but I can't go after my course because I need to serve on my country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they give me a role as a head coach of under 15 national team, so that I can share my experience also,
Mm-hmm.
and as a player and as a coach, So it was good experience for me, and also like I'm here now in Canada. How can I handle I'm a coach also here in Canada.
So a coach in Canada? Yeah, which club?
North Mississauga Soccer Club.
North Mississauga Soccer Club.
Yeah. So
under 15?
Under 15 also, and same age that I was coaching in back home in Philippines. So, there's a differences also because it's easy to coach when you talk. When you speak
your own language.
This your mother tongue.
Yeah.
But here is you will. I have Canadian. I have. Indian, I have Pakistan, I have so lots of players. You have
a melting pot of players.
So you have to understand the situation, because they have a different culture also.
Correct.
Even they are born here in Canada, they are all Canadian, but their parents are, we always impose our culture, right?
Yes.
We want to live it.
Yeah. So the children would be kind of acculturated based on the culture that
exactly. So that's the things that you have to encounter. That's the things that.
So with this challenge, are you a good coach, Chiefy? You have you been holding your own coaching here? Have you been doing a good job?
Yeah. So
You think
it's,
so?
it's a good job. It's
Yeah.
that's my line of
That's your work.
yeah, that's my work.
So why would you say you've been doing a good job? The teams have been winning as the team
So when I
improved.
came here in Canada, my team is they're ranked on 8. They're in the league. We're in the 20 teams in the league.
They were number
Then-
20.
No, they are number 18.
They were number
When I
18.
came in.
So they were second when you came. They were second to last.
Second to last, exactly. So after
they are
a
what,
year,
about
we're number
16?
4.
4.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
After 1 year.
After 1 year, when I came in, then the club gave me the team.
And in 1 year,
Yeah, after
moved
1
from
year,
18
to number 4.
to 4.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm so happy, you know. It's
Wow.
depend how you how deal with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, my main philosophy is if you want to learn,
Mm-hmm.
like if you want to learn with me, then follow. If you
Yeah.
don't want to learn, then I can do anything. You know,
Yeah.
it's
So you have 3 sons? Three sons.
three sons, yeah.
Any of them play soccer?
yeah, they love soccer. You
They
know,
love soccer.
that's because when I playing, they're always watching. You know,
Are
so
any of them on the any of them on the team?
yeah,
Okay.
last year they joined like one of the tournaments
Mhm.
here, also in the same club.
Okay.
They're enjoying. Yeah, but I'm not always, you know, pushing them whatever they like it. You know, whether they like it, it's fine. I will support them if they pursue another career or you know. So it's depend on them. If they follow me, whatever I have now, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, tell me, Chiefy, what would you say is the main benefit? You'd say is your main benefit in coming to Canada. What would you say is the main benefit? Like you see where God directed you here. What would you say?
Maybe that's the time that when we arrive here in Canada, maybe that's the time that I need to see God, you know, to see Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the time that I need to commit myself to God. That's
Wow.
the main, because I was baptized in Meadowvale Adventist Church.
Praise
And
God.
I'm so happy, and you know, I have more time to my family and also to God. Like
Yeah.
I always worship every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. You know, so I see myself. That's the one of the benefit that I came here in Canada. In back home, I always busy. You know,
Mhm.
I don't have any time with God. You know, so yeah. So, and second thing that the benefit is also my kids. You know, to show what God has done with us, with my family. You know, like what the God, they're God's gift for the family, my 3 sons. So yeah, so that's the 2 things
That's
that the benefit that I
coming
came
here.
in Canada, and I'm so happy with I'm here in the Meadowvale Church, a family church.
Praise God.
You know, yeah,
You're comfortable here. Praise
I'm
God.
super
Super
comfortable.
Praise
Yeah.
God. Praise God. This is the church. And just to plug something in, if you migrate to Canada and you're anywhere in the Mississauga, Brampton area, look for the Meadowvale Seventh-day Adventist Church. All are welcomed here. All are welcomed here. And I see our small media crew we have here. They're giving me a thumbs up, saying yes, all are welcomed here. So I remember when you got baptized, right? Your kids actually got baptized first. Your
Yes,
wife came
yes.
with them, right? And they gave their lives to the Lord, 2 of your sons. And you were here to witness their baptism. I believe the Spirit of God moved on you during their baptism. And then we had a conversation like a week or so after.
Yeah.
And then the whole family gave their lives to Jesus Christ. It's such a blessing. Before we go, Chiefy, let me ask you this final question. What message, what word do you have for families out there, especially fathers? A lot of fathers are so busy. Some are superstars, but others, just day-to-day life, work, trying to have ends meet, not having enough time for your children. And, they really would want to put in some more time, but to provide for the family, it is so challenging, right? You are a man, a family man, right? You, with all that your celebrity life that you experience, you always have the family at the forefront of your thoughts, right? What word, what message do you have for fathers, fathers out there who are trying hard to get their family together and spend more time with them?
As a father of 3 sons, I'm so blessed to have this 3 kids, and like I said, back home is where I'm always busy, and I realized when I came here in Canada that the time that I offer myself to God in Jesus, and so spending time with them and spending time with God is very, you will feel the difference, so give if you have as my experience after my work, if I have time, even I'm tired already, even a little bit a time that you can play with them, just give yourself, and so that they will feel that you're there, it's the kind you're not, they will not feel that you're ignoring them. So if I have time to play with them, even I'm so busy, I always give time. So just time is very important.
That's so true.
Because time pass.
That's
you
true.
You can go back in back time, right? So you always, if you have a time, you always
have a time set for them.
Exactly, yeah.
And of course, pray with your family.
Yeah.
You understand me? Spend some time talking to your family, etc.
And
let them see the love of Christ through you.
Exactly. And they always, we always watch movie about, Jesus
together.
So, so that they will feel it. They will recognize what God has done for the world.
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's
I always introduce God to them.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm happy that they're a God-fearing kids, family.
That's right.
So
That's
I'm
right.
so happy then. And like what we met 2 weeks ago that you offered me, like you have to welcome in this church, and so I can't ignore God. I can't ignore Jesus.
Praise
so
God.
I'm so happy that I meet you, Pastor, and introduce God to me. So
Praise God.
That's
Praise God.
the
blessing.
Blessing for me.
Praise God. It was a privilege and a blessing having this show this evening. We had on our first set Stephen Stennett. He was interviewed by Alexi, and then Chiefy with such a great story. We continue next week with Upsurge. Something special will be happening next week. We will be discussing racism. You know what is happening now in the world, racism, Black Lives Matter, etc. We'll be having an intense and in-depth discussion on racism. We are trying, by God's grace, to be on the outside next week. So we will have our viewers asking questions as they pass by. It promises to be fantastic. This is Upsurge, real people, real discussions, real questions, real answers. Upsurge, where the surge is always up. It's a wrap. See you next week.